Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of PWR Today. This August 31st, 2022, the last day of August. And if you have been playing along at home, you would know that August has 31 days in it due to Meathead's knuckle trick, where you learn about the days of the year, or the days and the months of the year. So good on you for knowing how many days are in August, you listening audience. And joining me here this last day of August is Linda Kay. Linda, how are you doing today?
Doing well, as always, when we talk each week. But you're telling me the month of August is done pretty much. It has flown by already. Like summer is just in its final days. No, I do not believe that.
And we are almost we're out of the NFL preseason. I believe that's starting what is it, the Thursday night game next week, right? Because it's the Thursday after Labor Day. Am I correct?
I want to say there's only 3 preseason games this year. I do know that the Packers' first game since the Vikings is Sunday, September 11th. So maybe it's just kind of like this would be the final weekend then. Huh. Insane.
Yeah, and and the thing of it is, I mean, the Denver Broncos finishing the preseason with a winning record, 2-1. So preseason counts when your team is actually performing semi well. So we will take that. And I don't know, what the weather's going to be for the Broncos' first home game of the season, but I do know what is always in fashion, whether you are at Empower Field or whether you are in Green Bay
Lambeau
or wherever
Field.
you may be. Yeah, Empower Field is us. So
yes.
If you're gonna, if I was gonna take a Lambeau leap, I would want to make sure that the person or the persons that caught me were dressed very stylishly, Linda.
Well, you may not always find that because in the frozen tundra, believe it or not, we have gentlemen with their shirts off and women in their bikini tops, and it's -3 degrees. But if you do want to wear any clothing, I highly recommend be comfortable and fashionable and eye-catching, by the way. So if you're anticipating a player to jump and leap on you in the end zone, make sure you're wearing collar and elbow. Make sure to check out the latest and greatest in wrestling street fashions by going to collarandelbowbrand.com. And to save a little cash, to save 10% off your order, you can always use promo code Linda K. That's LINDAKAY. And I just gotta say, since I just mentioned there's 3 preseason games, maybe that's it. Maybe it's like a pre-regular season bye week of some sort.
Yeah. No, I think that's what it is. It's a preseason bye week, But I guess you got to have that last week in there to get your rosters down to what you need to whittle them away. Just there's somebody as we speak right now, just like somebody with a good piece of wood, just whittling away at the rosters of all of the NFL teams. So that's the time of year that we are in. But as we mentioned, this is Matthew Thomas, and you are Linda Kay, and there are going to be more and more WWE wrestlers that have something in common with us, Linda. You know what that is?
2 names, meaning first and last?
Yes. Yes, you are indeed correct. It is apparently official. As we saw a few nights ago on Raw, Riddle. Welcome back, Matt Riddle. And there is another former 2-name person that was whittled into a 1-name person that's now getting his other name back. That would be one Austin Theory. So, Linda, it is looking like the 1-name thing was definitely a Vince McMahon deal, and they are reverting away from it a little bit. Linda, how do you feel about the new changes going on for a couple of WWE superstars? I know you and Meathead talked about it yesterday, but now it looks like it's official, at least on 2 fronts.
Yeah. I mean, another name that came up yesterday, I mentioned Tommaso Ciampa. That one, I would hope, has both of his names. You're saying Johnny Gargano. His Jumbotron just had Gargano. We hope it's still Johnny Gargano. No, Johnny Wrestling's been referenced. But we did also touch on what about the talents where their names are completely different? For example, Butch or Gunther. I
think there is a solution to it. Enter Walter Gunther. He's got 2 names now. That fits the bill. And I mean, who's to say that Butch can't have a double name? I'm going Pete Dunn Butch, and Dunn Butch is hyphenated, so
Yeah.
Dunn Butch. And I mean, you got so many options. You can still call him Butch because that's his last name at that point, or I kind of like Dunn Butch. Talking about there goes Dunn Butch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's ironic that I was looking for it on NXT last night when he was. I know I'm jumping ahead here, but when he was on that iPad or whatever Tyler Bate was looking at, it didn't say his name, and I was hoping it would have said something of the original name that the NXT world knows Butch and many other wrestling fans know him more as Pete Dunne. But that would be interesting if we do have a Walter Gunther and a Pete Dunne Butch in the works.
And Linda, it just dawned on me with that intro. Yeah, they have something in common with you and I. But there's another member of this show that they don't have something in common. And I think we need to remedy that right now, Linda. As of right now, August 31st, 2022, I hereby make a proclamation. We are giving Meathead a second name, and all we're going to do is we're just going to take that little pizza cutter, if you will, and we're just going to slice it right down the middle. I introduce, well, not really because he's not on this program right now, but in kind of a way without his presentation or his consent, by the way, I give you, Linda, Meathead.
Yes, I see that.
And so what we'll do now is we'll just make a very specific effort whenever we address him, to mention, Mr. Meathead. You got to give it plenty of time. You got to give it a pause. You got to wait for it. And yeah, I think he's going to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get all of us into this name change mix, name game, shuffle.
Absolutely. Well, the name to remember as we head into this weekend is NXT Worlds Collide. That is the special network, special event presentation, don't say pay-per-view, that we are heading into on Sunday. This was the NXT Go Home show to Worlds Collide. And because it was so rampant and spread throughout the program, I'm just going to address it right now. The theme was various WWE main roster talent showing up through the night to talk to the NXT champions, to give them a little bit of a pep talk / borderline threat that they must retain their titles so that NXT UK doesn't, take over, if you will, which I thought was an added level of importance. Basically you kind of try to sprinkle it throughout the show that there are actually stakes here, and they have made it feel important. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Linda. This is more or less a winner take all pay-per-view, correct? As in the fact that all the belts are on the line.
Yeah, I mean, this has definitely become even bigger, and with it taking place on an already huge wrestling weekend. I mean, not just with its counterpart there, WWE's Clash at the Castle, but you're having this pay-per-view or premium live event on the same day as one of the AEW pay-per-views take place, which is not every month, so it's even a bigger, meaningful pay-per-view in terms with AEW, in my eyes at least. But they've really stepped it up. I mean, again, when it was mentioned last week about UK Europe happening, I was just curious on how exactly that would be run. Would there eventually be different titles there, or are we just keeping NXT? I don't want to say America, but NXT here and NXT UK just as one brand where the champions just hop back and forth as if it was like Raw and SmackDown, but instead they're going across the pond. Or are we just going to eventually have different champions? I'm not sure, but this is definitely a way to get more eyes onto NXT. I mean, every title for the most part is going to be unified, with the exception of the NXT Women's Tag Team match, and I believe just the North American title. But you've got the men's tag titles, you've got the women's title, you've got the NXT championship. I mean, am I missing any other ones? Because unification has been a huge word thrown out in the world of wrestling as of late.
Absolutely. Our show actually kicked off with a man who premiered his talk show last week, Grayson Waller, going up against Apollo Crews. The story of this match was there was an inadvertent eye poke to Apollo Crews. Crews, basically selling that throughout the match, and that was kind of the story there. But Waller would pick up the win here in this opening contest. Linda, surprised to see Apollo Crews not coming away with this one.
Yeah, but there's something more for this. There was that eye poke. I just feel like, especially with the verbal battle last week, that we need another Apollo Crews Grayson Waller match, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was great to see Apollo just, back in it. We've been seeing him in different bits and pieces in the tag match and in the segments and the talk show last week, but getting this match after a heated argument last week with Grayson Waller definitely made me more interested in this feud and for more of it to come.
Absolutely. You had your current NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, the team of Carter and Chance, going up against Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. It would be Carter and Chance with the win after Ivy Nile was distracted by Toxic Attraction. However, after the match, we had team of Carter and Chance say they don't have anybody to wrestle at Worlds Collide, so they were planning on having a parking lot party, which I've been privy to some parking lot parties before, and always, sounds like a good time.
Like the DiBiase posse parties.
Oh,
yes.
Oh my goodness, that's a throwback. Yes, my good. You know what? I know they're bringing a lot of people back. I wouldn't mind just it doesn't have to do any in-ring action, just a DiBiase posse segment every now and then, just to keep us interested. I think there's definitely room for that. But before anybody could RSVP for the parking lot party, they were interrupted. Team of Nikki ASH and Doudrop. Now, here's where I'm surprised on this. We're talking about name changes. We're talking about gimmick changes. I thought certainly last night, these two people showing up in NXT, this would be a good chance to shed that layer of skin that is Doudrop and is Nikki ASH. And who knows, maybe they don't wrestle as those two monikers. Maybe they go back to their former names at the pay-per-view. Maybe that's the surprise right there. But if there's anybody on that roster that is due for it, I think it's these two.
As in Doudrop?
Oh, Doudrop is due.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you on that. And that's just a really great point. This would have been a great chance to, not Katana chance, but a really great chance for both Doudrop and Nikki Cross. And I can't think of Doudrop's name when she was
Piper.
Yes,
oh
Piper.
It's two P's, correct?
I'm not sure. However, this would have been a great way. And like you said, this could be the big surprise, or one of the surprises, I should say, at Worlds Collide, when they go back to their former monikers and just get that NXT love and rub that they got when they were in their respective shows.
Speaking of names, Linda, still a little bit confused on this. The next segment would bring us a promo. Well, the graphics said the schism, but I guess we're technically the dyad because Gacy's included, right? When Gacy's included, it's the dyad. When it's
it's schism when it's all the three of them, but the two of them, the tag team, they're the dyad.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. So the schism is everybody, and the dyad is just the tag team. Okay, I got you. They would come out for a promo. This would ultimately bring out Cameron Grimes. They had been courting Grimes for several weeks. Grimes would turn down the invitation. We got a lot more of a throwback to the moon, happy, enthusiastic Cameron Grimes last night. However, prior to exiting the ring, I believe the line was Gacy telling Grimes that it was another night without a championship, a family, or a father. This was enough to send him over the edge, have him come in and attack the dyad. However, once he got to Gacy literally wrapped him in a bear hug, not as an offensive maneuver, but to give him a hug. Grimes did not seemingly know how to react to this. The dyad does make its way back into the ring. Gacy calls them off, and this ends with Grimes leaving in a very interesting segment.
Yes, he gave him an embrace, I think is what I took out of that. But yeah, there's been a lot of personal hits at certain individuals in these feuds that we've seen as of late. And when we got it on Raw the other night, mentioning family, and I mean, Matt Riddle, excuse me, did mention Becky at first, and then the off camera scene. Oh, I had to watch that one again. That was great. Just that animosity, that feel. I loved it. And then we had, Seth mentioning his family. And then if we're talking AEW, obviously a lot of, as like Christian and with Jungle Boy, MJF, Brian Pillman Jr., just a lot of talk bringing in family and not just like little digs like the other, like we had Beth Phoenix and Edge mentioning about who wears the pants in the families. Like we're talking like real life occurrences that are not of something that you really think you'd bring in to
and Linda, we're
storyline.
only a few months away from Survivor Series. Maybe this is long-term booking to get us to Survivor Series, the Thanksgiving time of the year. Maybe they're going family heavy at Survivor Series this year, huh?
Perhaps. Do you think that they'll have the smiley face pins that Joe Gacy gave to the Dyad? I think he had one ready for Cameron Grimes, but I don't think Grimes was having it.
I think there's a ton of potential with Gacy and potentially marketing Gacy correct. I mean, I think ever since the introduction of Joe Gacy, there's been a little bit of a push, a pause, and a pull. They've gotten away from the mention of, making NXT a safe space and this, that, and the other. There's a lot of stuff that I think they have tried that they maybe have prematurely kind of pulled back on. But I think once that you really kind of settle into this Gacy character, I mean, yeah, I think you can sell some smiley face pins, and you can, it's something that a lot of people, will actually kind of enjoy, and you can possibly put one of those smiley face pins on your Chase U sweater. The headmaster of Chase U in action last night, going up against the premier of Charlie Dempsey, who apparently did not think the curriculum in Chase University was tough enough. We would see Andre Chase picking up the victory. A rare occurrence. You see Chase wrestle every so often, but you don't see Chase win a lot. But Andre Chase victorious last night.
Yes, and has it been confirmed that Charlie Dempsey is Regal's son?
That's the word on the street.
Okay, well, if so, I can totally see that resemblance and his style, and learning the catch as catch can style as well. I wanted to watch this match in its entirety and listen. It had some uniqueness and some more of that catch as catch can style, and I was just interested in Charlie Dempsey himself, and if it being Regal's son, and just that style of wrestling versus what we've seen from anybody from Chase U. It's just so different, as we saw in that segment the week prior, in that was an exhibition. But yeah, so there was, while it wasn't technically interference from Bodie, it caused Dempsey to be distracted. So I see where this is going. It already started last week, but given Bodie's size and his intensity, I think this would be a good match between both him and Dempsey.
So Linda, I know since the Peacock deal, we don't have a ton of original content on the network or Peacock or whatever you want to call it, but I think we're potentially leaving money on the table by not having some type of Chase U spinoff. Maybe a YouTube show or whatever. Just give us some more, Chase U content each week. A little more in depth than what we get. I think I would at least tune in. I'd give it a shot to see, what's going on in those hallowed halls of Chase U.
And the co-ed dorm rooms.
Exactly. I think there are people that are interested in, what's going on at Chase U there. You have so much potential. So WWE, powers that be, if you're listening, yeah, give us that Chase U, show. Call it like Syllabus or something. I think there's tons of potential, especially with schools and colleges getting back in session now. The time is right. So says Matthew Thomas, the man with a first and a last name. Our next match would be Zoe Stark going up against Kiana James. Stark picking up a decisive win here. However, she was attacked by James at the end. This would bring out Nikita Lyons. So apparently the band is back together, Linda.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's been any confirmation on why exactly or what injuries or what reasoning, that they were pulled from that women's tag tournament. And then we saw a Toxic Attraction watching as well. And I was looking to see if there was a knee brace on anybody too. And, I don't know if we'll get that explanation. I mean, obviously the women's tag team title tournament has concluded. But all in all, it did get some attention and some more eyes, I believe, into NXT, which in the end is not a bad thing.
Right. Exactly. The never-ending saga of Diamond Mine would continue as they would face Gallows. We would have Roderick Strong at once again, costing seemingly Diamond Mine the match when he dropped his phone. So Roderick Strong's phone comes into play here for the finish. This would bring out Pretty Deadly, and also I believe it was Jensen Briggs who had lost earlier in the evening in a mixed tag match with Henley and Lash Legend to set us up for a fatal four-way for the tag titles at Worlds Collide. Linda, your thoughts on this match, the finish, and if we're ever going to get the payoff for Diamond Mine?
I think we will. And I'm thinking it'll happen at Worlds Collide. I mean, a fatal four-way match is a no DQ match, I believe. If a triple threat is, the fatal four-way should be no DQ as well, correct? Or is it not always?
No, that's my understanding of the rules.
Okay. I think that it will come to fruition this Sunday at Worlds Collide. The whole thing with Roddy and Diamond Mine and what exactly is going on. The footage that we've been waiting to see.
Do you think he has insurance on his phone?
I hope so, but I wonder if it's some footage that there's somewhere there that's still utilizing GTV.
Oh,
and I hope that's what.
Fantastic! That would be a nice little payoff there. And however, that was not the main event of the evening. The main event would feature Carmelo Hayes coming out, and basically he kind of like the NXT Women's Tag Champs earlier. He wasn't going to have a parking lot party, but they said there's no one on his level, and he would not be defending his title at Worlds Collide. Linda, some music hit, and this is a guy who's had a little bit of a brighter light shown on him in the last month on the main roster. And that light would track all the way to NXT last night. He would be interrupted by one Ricochet to set up a match for the North American title at Worlds Collide. Linda, your thoughts on Ricochet in the main event segment here?
I loved it. I was hoping. I mean, I as you know, I'm a fan of Carmelo Hayes. Is the A champion, and to not have him at this huge pay-per-view in a match that is there would have been missing something there. There would have been losing out on an opportunity to get a great match. And then you send in Ricochet, who, I mean, similar styles as far as high flying and just something I didn't even picture wanting to see, but now that it's in front of me, that's the match.
Yeah,
I really got to see. I mean, tons of other great matches, don't get me wrong, but something I think unique will come of this match. It's definitely going to be one to watch. But I like the verbal spewing to one another as well. I think that I wonder if this is something where Ricochet, let's just say he does win this. Is this kind of like with Dolph Ziggler's represented on both, but more so on NXT because it's still an NXT title? Things to figure out, but hey, let's not jump too far ahead on that, Linda. Okay, 2 names. Let's focus on this big event coming up in a huge wrestling weekend. I'm all for it.
Absolutely. And this is one title I do want to see switch hands. I think this is potentially a very big reset for Ricochet. And, Ricochet, when he was on that NXT brand, there was such a buzz. Ricochet, his time on the independents was known as, one of the most exciting in-ring performers. And I feel like on the main roster, he's just kind of been there. He hasn't been given that time to shine. And I think an excellent wrestling match, a match that could potentially steal the show,
Yes. Steal the
Remake,
show. Thank you. I
yeah,
was trying to get to that. I couldn't get the words in my mouth.
remake Ricochet as this just, high flying technical wrestling prowess. And I can even see this if you're combining UK and your standard NXT. Maybe this is actually a title that either goes up to the main roster or goes back and forth between the main roster and NXT. That would be an interesting little kind of caveat for the North American title, that it could be defended, on any brand, including NXT. I would not mind seeing that. But we've kind of run down the card for Worlds Collide throughout the show. But Linda, I want to ask you, what's your hunch? What do you see potentially changing hands or potentially being unified on one side or the other come Sunday?
I feel that Braun Breaker will continue to be champion and be unified champion in that match. The women's title, I mean, got to keep it on Mandy. I mean, personally, just like, I know that Yiko is a legend, but I'm just thinking as far as what we see more on television right now, or maybe she's featured a lot in the UK, but just I feel like it's going to be still Braun and Mandy, but the tag titles, I feel that could go to probably Gallus, because we're talking about. I mean, like, why bring all these talents if there's not going to be some that are
Right.
still
It's
maintaining the championships?
It's too tough to call, but here's kind of what I want to see. Like, if in fact you are merging brands, I would be very interested in NXT UK making a clean sweep, a double turn, if you will. Hey, you are in Florida, you're in the NXT zone there. You know your crowd. I think they could very easily get behind an NXT US, roster kind of coming from under, and having to kind of get back and go after those titles. I'm very intrigued by the storytelling that an NXT UK would allow, an NXT UK clean sweep. I'm very curious into what that would open up, and because I really feel like at least there in that arena, it would not be a popular. I think when this happens, I mean, regardless of heel or face, I think you're going to see a lot of that crowd, want the people they're familiar with to win. And when that doesn't happen, I think you could introduce a potential really, really good dynamic in NXT.
Right. And I'm just thinking with Roman Reigns and that title unification, I was thinking it was just going to be one title, but he's still holding both. And while they look the same, different color, these titles look completely different. So do we even mention, like, is it just the unified NXT champion? Like, what is the name going to be? Are we going to meld belts together?
Yeah, that's your next character. You need to introduce a welder, okay, to NXT, and that's his whole gimmick. Whenever after the fallout from this pay-per-view, there's a segment each week where and I think for a while nobody carries a belt because you've got it back there with this dude, welding them all together, and there's just this huge wait list. And they're consistently kind of going back there to check on the progress that he's making. So, again, WWE brass,
like a Kenny Omega making a ring segment, or Undertaker making a casket. Just keep doing more throwbacks.
Yes, and you never see him because he's got his his face shield on there, and then you can eventually, some months later, eventually have a reveal of who it is doing the welding. But I mean, the possibilities are endless. There's so many different directions that we could go in, but there is one thing that's for certain. You don't know who's walking away with these unified titles, but I can tell you there is a unified front on PWR Today that will be joining you tomorrow, as myself and the man they call Meathead join you to recap all that was with A&E See, here's the thing. You got WWE doing the A&E thing. You got AEW now. Like, that's just a little too complicated. That's way, way too close together. But anyway, we won't be recapping the A&E breakdown, which, Linda, I've spoke to Meathead about this. A&E does have a very good Wednesday night show called Court TV Live, or Live from Court or something, where cases, Linda, are actually decided the way that they're supposed to be decided by the American people. You can text your vote of how you want to see justice dispersed.
I've heard you guys talk about this show. It sounds like something I've got to tune into now.
It is. It's definitely something. I don't know how long it's going to be around, and I'm not really sure exactly. I guess the stuff is kind of has to be legal to a certain extent. But anyway, an interesting concept. But we won't review that either. Meathead and myself will review AEW Dynamite tomorrow. So for Linda Kay, this is Matthew Thomas. We will talk to you tomorrow.